Welcome to another RSR. Tonight I'm reviewing FC Cincinnati 3, Toronto FC 0, and MLS 2023 Week 19. Bob Bradley, you are a shambles. Greg Ranjit Singh, you are a shambles. And this team gave up as soon as Ranjit Singh let that second mistake in. Of course. So, giving it away, and then basically he's the reason though. Goals were scored as follows. In the 36th minute, Santiago Arias gets the rebound off the hands of Ranjit Singh off the corner. Arias taps it in to make it 1-0. That's the way we go into halftime. But TFC play a really good first half. Arguably, they do. Mabaka and Larea, a great makeshift center back pairing. Mabaka playing the Mascherano rule with outside backs. And it looked like a good run. It looked like a good back line. Rosted comes in. Looks worse. Giveaway. Acosta picks it up in the 55th minute, pops it into the net past Ranjit Singh. 2-0 to FC Cincinnati. The 64th minute, Dominique Badji scores. Nutmegs Ranjit Singh after he dropped Mabaka on the floor. One of the things that I wasn't happy about. I think Mabaka got fouled, but if he didn't, well, I'm not saying this one's on him. It's not. Ranjit Singh gets nutmeg. Badji turns on the afterburners. 3-0. That's the way it would end. TFC looked good for 45 minutes. And then they blow it. They quit. After they allow the second, they give up. They don't think they could score. Which, again, I don't blame them because the way the tactics are, whether that be the tactics of one Bob Bradley or anything, or the players are just wanting him out, which he should have been out 4 weeks ago. But you know what? No. Athletic wanted to write that puff piece and back Bradley with it. Okay, all right. Bet TFC, yes, I'll believe what was said in the puff piece of the situations, but not the way they tried to turn it into Bob Bradley being the oppressed manager, oppressed genius by his big name stars. It's not like that. But before I get into that, let me talk about the stats, and I'm going to lay in on that idiot, that Bacala, which is why I call him Bacala, because Italian for idiot, or, well, yeah, that's the way they use it. So with that being said, it also is a fish dish, but also could be called as an idiot. But with that being said, 14 shots to 11, 7 shots on goal to 4, 36% possession to 64% possession, 327 passes to 584, 73% pass accuracy to 85, 21 fouls to 11, 0 offside to 2, 3 yellow cards to 2, 0 red cards to 0, 6 corners to 1. Bob, I can't believe you got an extra month as the manager of this team, but you did. You were backed heavily by the Athletic on that article. When you're the problem, it's not the players. The players are talented. They have talent, at least the big players. Insigne, Bernadeschi, Coelho, Servania, so on and so forth. Mabaka, Larea, Petretta, Kobe Franklin, so on and so forth. DeAndre Kerr. But your boys, your side of the locker room are the washed ones, the horrible ones. Your son, Mark Anthony K, Diamande, CJ Sapong. Rosted, well, he just sucks. He just sort of sucks. But turns out he does. Mabaka's look better than him in 6-7 games, 2 months. Mabaka's look better than him. Could say that he was the reason this game got worse as well. So, with that being said, you got Sigurd Rosted being what he is. Mabaka's the better center back. With that being said, TFC, they have talent. Bill Manning's afraid to drop the hammer on Bradley because he damn well knows he drops the hammer. If stuff don't change and he can't save himself with that, he's gone in 6 months. He damn well knows. Unlike Armis, this is his hire. There's no GM to throw under the bus. If this doesn't turn, the reason why Bradley is still there and why this past month of being unbeaten really hurts, I can tell you why. Because Bill Manning don't want to lose his job. He's an egotistical jackass who thinks he was the reason we won MLS Cup. He was the reason we got inches away, minutes away from the CONCACAF Champions Cup, at the time Champions League. He's the reason we were the best team in CONCACAF, arguably. No, it wasn't you. It was Tim Lewicki. It was Tim Bezbatchenko. It was not you. It was Greg Vanney, to an extent. It was the players that were signed by Bezbatchenko, by Lewicki, not you. You rode the wave. You brought in Ali Curtis. You brought in Chris Armas. You brought in Bob Bradley. And all those hires have been jack shit. It's you. You're the problem. Just like Bradley is. But it goes higher than the coach. And let me tell you something. Bill Manning knows if this doesn't change in the next 6 months, if he fires Bradley and it's middling and they may finish a position or two higher, but they barely miss the playoffs because it's 9th place team, or they make it, they get slapped in the wild card round, or they just don't make it and finish where they are, he's gone. He's as good as gone if he drops the hammer, because this was his hire. He didn't even have a GM to throw under the bus. He could throw Curtis under the bus because easy to connect the dots. Armas is Curtis's guy. They're butt buddies. You could be like, but that was Ali. That wasn't me. That was Ali. You saw how they shuffled Ali out the door as soon as Chris was fired? You remember that? Yeah, because they wanted to scapegoat Ali. Now, I'm not saying Ali's a good GM. He sucks too. But Bill had somebody to scapegoat there. He does not have anybody to scapegoat here. If he fires Bob, he is in the shit. He is done. If it ain't anybody worth a damn and they don't turn this thing around in 15 matches and win the League's Cup or get into Champions Cup, he's done. And he knows it. And that's why he keeps driving this sinking ship. He's like the guy off Titanic saying, I'm dressed in my evening's finest and intend to go down with a ship. But I would like a brandy. That's him. And he's endangering everybody else. Their seasons, their livelihoods, their careers, because he wants one guy to come out on top. And that's Bill Manning. Because he can make the decision. It's at his doorstep. He signs that P45 for Bob Bradley. You want to know. He signs that P45, he's as good as gone. Unless there's somebody who could turn this around. And who's out there? Well, I know we can, but that's... Somebody has all the answers. Just saying. Somebody who has all the answers. But with that being said, Bill Manning, he knows damn well that he ain't going to pick somebody with all the answers. And he knows that when this season ends in tumult and mid, at least, if not horrible, because of that sacking, he is going to get marched to the chopping block and get chopped, so to speak. The blade will come down from the metaphorical guillotine, so to speak. And he knows it. And why am I going after Bill Manning here? Because damn it, it's true. It's true. Bob Bradley is a horrible manager. You want my piece on Bob? I'll give it to you. Bob Bradley's a horrible manager who got carried to LAFC because his tactics are shit. His tactics are outdated. And his tactics are play to your best players and play through them. But they have to buy in. They have to want that street football. mojo feeling about them. Diego Rossi had to listen, but he's a good player, but he wanted to build his career. He had to listen. Edward Atuesta to beat the metronome of that LAFC midfield. He had to listen. Got him to Brazil. By the way, Edward Atuesta, you remember that Champions League final they were in the first time and they blew it? Edward Atuesta was suspended. Everybody says LAFC would have been the first MLS champion if Atuesta was not suspended for the Ochoa situation. The headbutt and all that. If he was not suspended, people think unrightfully so, LAFC would have won because Mark Anthony Kaye was part of that midfield that absolutely collapsed in the second half of that game. Who, in the end, halfway through the next year, Bob Bradley sent him off, only to bring him to Toronto the next year, 12 months later. So either Bob knew that Kaye was washed. So how does Kaye become his second son? That's the craziest part, even though it's true. How does Kaye become his second son? Because Bob knew. Sent him to Colorado. It was horrible at Colorado. Halfway through the next season, he brings him to Toronto. Either that wasn't Bob's decision, and that was LAFC's decision from top down, Thorington's decision to say, no, Kaye sucks, trade him. And Bob wasn't happy about it, which is probably the case. Now I think about it. That's probably why Bob came to Toronto. He wanted all the power. Because he's a money-hungry, I wouldn't say money-hungry, but he's a power-hungry manager. He looks like a supervillain. He is a supervillain. The dude is a power-hungry jackass. And guess what? He got what he wanted out of his players at LAFC, but his contract was running out. They wanted to move on. And because they didn't like that Bradley was probably trying to push them around because he thought he was the reason. But look at that LAFC front office. They brought in Rossi. They brought in Vela, but they still have that front office. Look who they brought in since. Denny Mwanga, Mateusz Bogus. They're still a good side, talent-wise. They are sort of going down the 2018 Toronto route of bottling the Champions League, and everything goes to shit. They are. But look at that talent. Mwanga, Bogus, Bale, Crepeau, Ilie, who might just be better than Atuesta in that system. Sharundalo, been a good coach. He was a little bit weak for complaining about the salary cap thing after losing to Leon, but other than that, good coach. So you're telling me, I think Bob Bradley sort of wanted everything from LAFC, and they didn't want to give him everything. And there comes Toronto. There comes Michael playing his connection. We need a new manager. Michael plays his connection. It all goes down. Bradley gets all the power he wants. And as soon as somebody challenged that power, because God knows it needed to be challenged, because Insigne and Bernardeschi want more rigidity and more of a system, what happens? As soon as they make the move to try to cut the snake off at the head, cut the Hydra off at the head, what comes out? The Athletic is another head. Bill Manning is another head. Kaye and Bradley coming up as another head. 4 heads of the Hydra. And you just can't beat the PR piece. Because let me tell you, again, I believe that Athletic piece is exactly what happened. Mostly. The meetings, the play, Bernardeschi saying what he needed to say about the system or the lack of a system, therefore. He said what he had to say. They punished him. They turned him into the pariah, or at least tried to, and some people have actually fell for it, which is the worst part. Because Bradley wants power. He's a power-hungry jackass. He could be a great supervillain for a Batman movie. Hopefully they throw him in Arkham for crimes against football. Jackass. He is a power-hungry SOB. I don't care. That is what he is. Look at LAFC. They're still humming. TFC, Bill Manning goes on transfer market, types up Italian players like, oh, Insigne and Bernardeschi are both free agents. I'm going to sign them. This would be great. That's our Vela and Rossi. And I'm not saying Bernardeschi and Insigne suck. They've had their flashes. I'm not blaming them. But I'm blaming Bill. Where else is the scouting? Where has your scouting been? Because let me tell you, Coelho, good draft pick, good player, good job. Cervania, that's a good trade. I like Jesus Jimenez, but Cervania, trust me, if they didn't get him, this midfield would have been Swiss effing cheese. So, good. I'm fine with it. I'm completely fine with it. Mabica. If that's basically Pozuelo for Mabica, Mabica served a need. He's playing well. Pozuelo got what he wanted, a deal to Miami. Fair. And Pozuelo still could come back. He only had a 6-month deal in Turkey. But if I was the manager, I'd bring Pozuelo back. I don't think we need a striker, at least pressing-wise. I think right now we need a number 10 to open up the lanes for Sapong, because he can hold up the ball, and Insigne and Bernardeschi. You do that and give them a threat of Pozuelo, who could also score from deep or in the box. And Oso nobody's scared of, but you got a guy like Pozuelo by his side if you want to do that. Or if you had Coelho playing or Cervania playing, you're even scared of them because Cervania can strike a ball too. Pozuelo takes that front six and just melds it together. A striker doesn't do that. And if you have one DP spot, I think you bring back Pozuelo. He should have never been traded. He probably didn't like Bradley's system either. It's not just the fact Pozuelo's new girl was in Miami. That we've heard, that we know. After he separated from his wife. We know that by now. So that's why the trade sort of made sense. But I don't think Pozuelo respected Bob Bradley either. But Pozuelo was on an expiring. They didn't want to re-sign him. Bradley's like, you know what? We need to open up a DP spot, even though they already had one opened. They didn't need to reopen the third one. They already had one open for Bernardeschi. And that's the kicker. That's the kicker, you see. They had the spot open. Soteldo gone. Josie gone. Insigne had the one spot. There was another spot open, of course, as well. Pozuelo had the second. They got rid of Pozuelo. They didn't need to open another spot. Bernardeschi would have slotted in fine. I feel like Pozuelo didn't respect Bradley either. I feel like he didn't. It makes a lot of sense now that you think about it. Bob Bradley is a power-hungry jackass. He does not want to work with his players. He does not want to work and say, you know what would you like? What do you want my system to look like? What tactics do you think I could use? Because any good manager worth his salt, even if he has a certain preferred set of tactics, you talk to your players. If it's not working, you say, if you're not sacked by then, depending on who you are, you talk to your players and say, your biggest players and say, what do you want? What do you think? Even if you're winning, the games might not be going your way. And you can see that you need to do something before your luck runs out. You talk to your players and say, what do you want me to add to the system? What do you want me to add? What do you want me to do with this system to help you play to your best potential? Bradley never did that because he wants his players to buy in, not push him around. So where are we? With all that, where are we? Bob Bradley is freaking sinking a ship with Bill Manning that all the players are on, their careers are on, and they're sinking the ship because they damn well know one gets fired, that's a forced retirement, and the other gets fired because of that firing if they don't get the right guy who has all the answers to draft in for half a season. It is what it is. It is what it is. And that's where they are. They are in a precarious position where both these power-hungry, narcissistic asses are not going to yield. They're not going to yield. And that's the problem. They are not going to yield. So even if you want Bradley gone, they've already shown their colors with a damn Athletic article. They paid for that fluff piece. They paid for that PR. Yes, most of the events are true. But of course, they use some things that nobody should get worked up about to try to make Bernardeschi the pariah, which thankfully, that did not work. thankfully, the fans, most people with half a brain, if not even a quarter, saw through that. Good. I think even with a 1/4 of a brain, well, actually 1/8 of a brain, you could have saw through that bullshit. But that's me personally. Bradley tried to control the narrative, and TFC tried to control the narrative. Because what you would have done in your right mind was fire the jackass who was destroying the club. Oh, but you don't have a GM to take the fall either. And that's the kicker. That's the problem. It all comes together. And maybe I'm going full conspiracy theorist Pepe Sylvia here, but I care about this club. I care. And maybe I care too much, but that's fine. I care. And I always will. Whether it's too much or enough, I will always care. Always have, always will. And let me tell you something. What I'm seeing is the death of a club that might, if they don't get the right guy or Manning and Bradley get their way, it's going to take a damn long time to rebuild. You have to get the right guy, which might save Manning's ass if you go with a sack now. And if they sign the manager that needs to be signed after the season and it works out, great. That may not save Manning's ass, but it's very likely. If Manning hits, he's going to run. He's going to say, oh, it was Bradley, and he could throw him under the bus. He could throw him under the bus. You're not going to fire a president of a club halfway through the season. You can't do that. Look at the Ollie Curtis thing. They shuffled him off. They didn't fire him until they let him go. So, with that being said, you look at it, it's like, yeah, you got the rest of the season, Manning. You better freaking hope. And they go through it, and they turn it around. If Bradley were to get sacked right now, and they get the right guy, and they turn it around, and they win Leagues Cup, and they get to the playoffs and do respectably well, or even go deep, like they should, Manning's going to run to the bank laughing, saying, oh, it was Bradley's fault. He was the guy. Yes, he was the bad guy. He is a narcissistic jackass, power-hungry jackass. Not me, though. But Bill doesn't believe he could do that. It's hard to do, but it can be done. Hard to do, but it can be done. But it can be done. Somebody just has to have all the answers. Which, I'm sure somebody out there does have all the answers. I'm very sure. I am very, very sure. But I am very sure somebody has all the answers. 100%. Maybe even 1,000,000%. But Bob needs to go. Bradley needs to go. Ranjit Singh played like crap. And that's your answer. That's your thoughts for tonight. Jesus Christ. That's your thoughts. Let's see how Saturday goes, playing the second best team in the East. Probably even just as bad, if not worse. With that being said, if you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification once subscribed. Send super chats on the live streams. Comment on this video. Put us in play. Share with friends and family. All that great stuff. I shall see you tomorrow for the MRE review live stream. The menu is elbow macaroni in tomato sauce. I think that's menu 12. But I'll check that again. It's on the freaking thumbnail. But I will be reviewing MRE live 3:30 p.m. tomorrow Eastern out on the deck. It's covered. It should be fine. And then, of course, Friday I will do the Gold Cup predictions. Then I will see you Saturday. And I think I might just be able to see you for the TFC match without any worry. We'll talk about it, though. Behind the scenes, it'll be talked about. But I think I'll be able to be live for both TFC and Jamaica and not even have to worry about it. And race against time. That's what sounds like. But with that being said, I'll see you later. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace. Bradley out. Bradley, Vafanculo, Manning, well, even though you probably want to run to the bank laughing after hiring a guy who has all the answers and turns it around, Vafanculo. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace.